In the context of vulnerability to Russian malign influence within the hard security domain, the Republic of Moldova seems to be one of the most vulnerable countries of the region. The problem is rooted in the decision of the Republic of Moldova to get neutral. The decision was justified by the necessity to get rid of Russian troops from the territory of the Republic of Moldova. However, it never happened. Although Moldova inserted the norm about its neutrality to the constitution of the country, Russian troops still remain in place in Transnistria, and not only so-called peacekeepers, but also the so-called OGRV, the group of Russian troops which is stationed near Kobasna military stockpiles. And neither the decision of OSCE in Porto in 1992, neither the decision of OSCE in Istanbul in 2001 led to the withdrawal of these troops. However, the neutral status was a perfect excuse for some of the Moldovan elites to think that neutrality means no expenses on the military purposes. And thus, in the Republic of Moldova, we faced the problem with total weakness of the Moldovan army vis-à-vis not even Russian army, but the so-called army of Transnistria. The quantity of Moldovan troops is lower. The quality is also low. Besides, the country spends really little money on functioning of its army, on its modernization, on buying ammunition and weapons. Only after February 24, 2022, the Republic of Moldova started thinking about increasing its military capacities. And nowadays the key task for the army is strengthening air defense. The reason is pure and simple. Some of the Russian missiles launched to target Ukrainian goals simply fall down at the territory of the Republic of Moldova, and therefore the Republic of Moldova started thinking about the necessity to close the sky. Another reason for such vulnerability was also the political elite's attitude towards Russia. Only now the Republic of Moldova has both pro-European parliament, pro-European government and pro-European president. However, beforehand, the president of the Republic of Moldova, Igor Dodon, was indeed in favor of integration of the Republic of Moldova to Eurasian Union. He was celebrating together with the Russian peacekeepers the anniversary of their stay in the Republic of Moldova in the territory of Transnistria and in the so-called buffer zone between the Transnistrian region and the right bank Moldova. And therefore the political elite of that time simply didn't think about the necessity to strengthen army because they were assessing Russians as their allies and not potential enemies. That's another reason for weakness of the Moldovan army, and that's the task for the Republic of Moldova now is to fix the problem. However, here we have an obstacle, and that's neutrality again. Although the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Moldova, Nicu Popescu, has already mentioned that neutrality doesn't mean isolation, and Moldova is ready to support Ukraine. Anyway, for strengthening ties with NATO and for eventual possibility to join NATO, Moldova has to think about the amendments to the constitution. In the political space of the Republic of Moldova, the situation is really complicated. As it was already mentioned, nowadays we have the president and the government which are pro-European in their foreign policy views. However, there is a number of other political entities which cause concerns, if not potential threats, to the political system of the Republic of Moldova. First and foremost, it's Shor party, headed by Ilan Shor, the Moldovan businessman who is currently in Israel, and Moldova tries to negotiate with the government of Israel the possibility of his extradition to the Republic of Moldova. His political party is openly pro-Russian and supports Russian narratives. Besides, bearing in mind social situation in the Republic of Moldova, Ilan Shor used that as a pretext for organizing protests against Maia Sandu, the president of the Republic of Moldova, and the government. And there was evidence that in many cases these protests were coordinated and invigorated by the Russian special services. Apart from Shor political party, there is also the Party of Socialists and the Party of Communists of the Republic of Moldova, who are represented by one bloc in the parliament of the Republic of Moldova, and basically it's second biggest faction in the parliament. And although Mr. Dodon, who used to be the president of the Republic of Moldova and simultaneously the head of the Socialist Party, now is not the leader of this political force, its preferences in foreign policy remain the same, and it is still the pro-Russian political force. And in the context of turbulent political environment and social and economic troubles that Moldova faces at the moment, the growth of the popularity of these political forces is probable. Besides, there is a complicated situation in the autonomous region of Gagauzia. Gagauzia always used to be pro-Russian in its sentiments and its mood. When the Republic of Moldova signed the association agreement with the European Union, Gagauz government even organized a referendum which said that in case Moldova will lose its statehood, Gagauzia will gain the right to secession. And what was meant by the question was European integration, because it results in submitting part of sovereignty to supranational bodies of the European Union. In spring this year, Gagauzia will have the elections of the head of the autonomous region, so-called Bashkan. Now the Bashkan is Irina Vlach. It's her second term, and she also turned to be a very pro-Russian politician, contacting with Moscow even after the start of Russian full-scale invasion in Ukraine. She will lose the position, but it's not clear yet. Probably she will try to accelerate her efforts in gaining higher position in all Moldovan politicum. Besides, it's not sure who's going to be the next Bashkan, but bearing in mind pro-Russian mood in the Republic of Moldova, the chances for another pro-Russian Bashkan are high. And very last point on this issue is also the existence of so-called Unionist parties. The level of their support is pretty low at the moment, lower than 2%. None of them managed to get into the parliament of the Republic of Moldova. They promote reintegration or integration of the Republic of Moldova with Romania. And although they are not that vocal and the strong, Russian propaganda still uses these political forces to intimidate Russian-speaking population and to cement their core electorate, pro-Russian core electorate. So, although the chances for integration of the Republic of Moldova and Romania are low, this fear can be used by Russians. The Republic of Moldova gradually started to contain and deter Russian informational influence. Sputnik was banned in the Republic of Moldova almost immediately after Russia started attacking the whole territory of Ukraine. Recently, in autumn last year, Moldova also banned 6 Russian TV channels. However, according to the recent opinion poll conducted by Ukrainian Prism in cooperation with the representation of Friedrich Ebert Stiftung in Ukraine, Still, about 10% of the population of Moldova takes information about the war in Ukraine from Russian TV channels, which is a threat. Besides, even bearing in mind the limitation that the government imposed on Russian channels or those who rebroadcast them in the Republic of Moldova, there is an influence via social media. In Moldova, none of the social media prohibited in Ukraine is banned, so there is an influence of the networks like Odnoklassniki and Vkontakte. Moreover, Moldova is vulnerable towards the informational influence via Telegram anonymous channels, TikTok channels. Surprisingly, TikTok is among the top-rated channels of information, and that makes the difference between the Republic of Moldova and other states of the region. And thus, such vulnerability has to be considered, and obviously there is a need for a quality media in the Republic of Moldova, including quality media for the minorities which prefer their languages or Russian language instead of Romanian, because otherwise they take their information, they get their information from Russian sources. In economic terms, the level of Moldovan vulnerability is also very high. The problem is that the country is almost totally dependent on foreign sources of hydrocarbonates, gas, oil, and even electricity is a problem for the Republic of Moldova, because the main source of electricity production is so-called Moldovan gas, which belongs to Russian owners and is located at the Transnistrian territory. Thus, nowadays, when Moldova supported Ukraine, it faced the problems with Gazprom. Gazprom limited the supplies of gas to the Republic of Moldova and even threatened to shut them during the winter. The negotiations are ongoing, and Moldova is seeking for the alternative routes of supplies. Of course, the key potential partners are Ukraine and Romania. However, there are no capacities for transferring the necessary amount of gas from these sources. Moldova also negotiates with Ukraine the possibility to use Ukrainian gas depots. But again, there is a problem because there is a war in Ukraine, and although the depots are safe, but Moldova remains vulnerable because the security of these depots is not guaranteed. The same is true with electricity, because Moldovan electric grid is interconnected with Ukraine, and blackouts in Ukraine resulted in blackouts in the Republic of Moldova as well. The electricity can also be supplied from Romania, but via the territory of Ukraine, which means that they are vulnerable to Russian missile attacks. Plus, being one of the poorest countries of Europe, the Republic of Moldova highly depends on remittances, and most of the Moldovans who left the country were sending these remittances from Russia, Ukraine, Belarus. Now this channel of income is shut, and that creates another problem. And if we consider both electricity issue, gas issue, remittances issue, and post-COVID crisis caused by the pandemic, we will clearly see that the government of the Republic of Moldova faces a serious challenge. And bearing in mind Russian interests in the region, this challenge can be used as a pretext for attacking the government of the Republic of Moldova and promoting those forces who serve Russian interests in the Republic.